before I tell you what happened that night, I want you to promise something. If this story touches your heart, even for a second, tap that like button and subscribe to the Heartfelt story, because moments like these deserve to be remembered forever. The rain was relentless, falling like shattered glass from the sky, slashing against the streets with an icy fury. The city had gone quiet, except for the sound of tires hissing across puddles and the occasional honk from a distant street corner. Most people had already taken shelter, coffee shops were crowded, bus stops packed, windows fogged. But on the corner of 7th Avenue, beneath the flickering light of a broken street lamp, a girl stood alone. Her hair clung to her face, heavy with water, and her thin cardigan had darkened to a deep shade of gray from being completely soaked. She wasn't holding an umbrella. She didn't have a bag. Just her arms, wrapped tightly around herself as if she were holding the pieces of her own body together. The rain rolled down her cheeks, making it impossible to tell if she was crying or not. People passed by, glancing, then looking away. Some out of indifference, some out of fear of being pulled into a stranger's trouble. That's the thing about cities, they teach you to mind your own business. But then, footsteps slowed. Ethan didn't know why he stopped. Maybe it was because she looked so small in that storm. Maybe it was because her eyes, even from a distance, held something that unsettled him, a quiet desperation that went beyond the cold. He pulled off his coat, a heavy wool one, the kind that could keep out the kind of chill that seeps into your bones. "Here," he said softly, draping it around her shoulders before she could even protest. The weight of the coat startled her. It was warm, almost too warm after hours of standing in the wet. She looked up at him, eyes wide. I can't take this," she murmured, her voice trembling as if her throat had forgotten how to form words. "Yes, you can," he replied, his tone gentle but firm. "You're freezing." Her lips parted as if she wanted to explain something, but no words came out. Instead, she pulled the coat tighter around herself and turned her face slightly away, like she didn't want him to see her completely. The rain kept falling, but somehow, standing there beside her, Ethan felt like the noise of the storm had softened. He gestured toward a nearby cafe. "Come on. You'll get sick if you stay out here." She hesitated. Her eyes flickered from him to the ground, then back again. It was as if she was weighing something, whether to trust him or disappear back into the shadows of the city. Finally, she nodded, a small, fragile movement. Inside the cafe, the air was warm and smelled of roasted coffee beans. The girl sat in the corner, the coat still wrapped around her like a shield. Ethan brought her a cup of tea, setting it in front of her without asking what she liked. "Thank you," she whispered, her hands curling around the cup, soaking in its heat. "What's your name?" he asked. There was a pause before she said, "Lila." It was a simple name, but the way she said it, it sounded like a name she hadn't spoken in a long time. "Lila," he repeated, as if testing it on his tongue. "I'm Ethan." She didn't ask him why he had stopped for her. And he didn't ask her why she had been standing in the rain. They sat there in silence, the storm outside still raging, but the small corner of the cafe holding a strange sense of calm. Yet, deep down, Ethan knew this was not a coincidence. Something had brought him to that street, at that exact time, to see her standing there. And something told him, this night was only the beginning. The rain had finally slowed to a gentle drizzle by the time they left the cafe. Ethan walked beside Lila, the streetlights reflecting off the wet pavement, painting the world in soft shades of gold and silver. She kept the coat around her, even though the cold had lessened. It was more than warmth now, it was safety. "You can keep it," Ethan said as they reached a small park. She shook her head. "It's yours." "It's just a coat," he replied. "I can get another one." "You needed it more." Her steps slowed. She stopped near a bench, her gaze fixed on the empty swing swaying gently in the breeze. "You don't understand," she murmured. Ethan turned toward her. "Then help me understand." She looked down at her hands, then up at him, and in her eyes, he saw the story she had been holding back. "I didn't have anywhere to go," she said finally. "Not tonight. Not for a while now." Her voice trembled, and the words seemed to cost her more than she had to give. "I've been staying wherever I can. Bus stations, stairwells, but tonight, I didn't even have the strength to walk anymore." Ethan felt something tighten in his chest. "What about your family?" She gave a bitter smile. "Sometimes family is the reason you end up in the rain." He didn't push for details. Instead, he sat on the bench, leaving space beside him. Slowly, cautiously, Lila sat down too. They talked for a while, about small things at first. The rain. The city lights. The sound of the world after midnight. But with each passing minute, her words grew heavier, filled with fragments of a life that had been chipped away piece by piece. She had dreams once, she said. She wanted to study art. But life had a way of replacing dreams with survival. At some point, Ethan realized he had stopped thinking about why he was there and started thinking about what he could do next. "Come with me," he said finally. She looked startled. "I have a spare room," he explained quickly. "It's not much, but it's warm. And safe." There was hesitation in her eyes, years of learning not to trust too easily. But there was also something else, a flicker of hope, faint but alive. That night, Lila followed him home. The guest room was small, but it had clean sheets and the quiet hum of a heater. She stood in the doorway for a long moment before stepping inside, as if afraid it might vanish if she blinked. "Good night, Lila," Ethan said softly, before closing the door. She didn't reply. But the next morning, when he found the coat folded neatly on the couch, a note resting on top, his chest tightened. It said, "Thank you for seeing me when no one else did." And beneath that, "I think maybe I can start again now." If you believe that one act of kindness can change a life, then don't forget, hit that like button and subscribe to the Heartfelt story. Because somewhere, someone is still standing in the rain, waiting for their stranger with a coat.